and how do we construct a simple tool that enables people to find their what, their why, and their how.
I'm reminded of the quote by Stevenson where he says, "Injustice persists where hopelessness persists." I think that's what he says.
Hi, my name's Steve Silbert. I'm a father. I'm a grandfather. From a hobby perspective, I do digital artwork. I'm on the board of directors of a nonprofit called Buy It, which is a spiritual incubator hub. And because of these things, I feel the need to look at the world around me and to see where we can improve it, because that's really important to me as both as someone on a spiritual journey, as well as a grandfather. And I've been very blessed in my life to have been connected with you as my friend for several years now.
And I'm Sherry Quirino, a contemplative writer and author. I find that the stories and the systems in which we operate, they lead us towards or away from suffering. And somehow in my writing and in my contemplative practices, I've found it very interesting to see how that occurs, how our suffering and or even liberation exists in different systems, whether in individuals, in teams, in organizations, and in society as a whole. Let's talk about what inspired us to work on this project.
I'm on kind of a personal mission to leave the world a better place than I started. And looking around and seeing so many broken things out there and so many people who were suffering, and really started to think about who those people were, and finding that, well, we're talking about marginalized groups. So we're talking about those on the edges that are underrepresented, those whose voices are either silenced or, I think you use the word, suppressed, and go, wow, there's a lot of pain and suffering out there. And it's been much more upfront and in your face with the last election and the results. And once we figured out what the problem was, the problem was that there are too many problems. Uh, and that was acting like that for me, and I know it was acting like that for you. And I'm assuming that it's acting like that for a number of people. So, I'm paying attention to social media, and finding that there were people that were going into a grief period and around the election. And as they were coming out, they were ready, but were not prepared. So what we decided to do in using our skills as coaches was to come up with three different decks. One is things that we want to do. Two is outcomes that we want to have, and the purposes.
And then those who want to be in allyship with.
And I'm flipping them back because this is the original deck.
Yeah.
So the idea that we came up with was to use the skills that we've got in our coaching thing and say, how do we craft our statement of purpose? And we say, I want to do something for a specific reason so that a specific group can benefit from that. And I'm a firm believer that I can't speak for a group that I'm not part of, but I can reach out to that group and say, how can I be a good ally to you, and have you tell me what I can do from where my position of privilege or power or skills or knowledge. A stack of things, areas of society that are at risk, like safeguarding the economic system. Well, we're the economic system, gender and family policies, labor employment rights, citizen policies, military and security forces, youth groups, and we decided to put a verb in front of them. So what is it that we want to do? I want to safeguard the electoral system. And the yellow bar at the top of all these says, I want to. And the blue deck all starts with, so that we, right? These are our outcomes, so that we challenge inequity, so that we empower communities, so that we protect civil liberties.
And then we have the red one. That's those who we want to be in allyship with. And so, like, we have migrant workers, neurodivergent individuals, formerly incarcerated individuals, indigenous people, the homeless, and those who are facing housing insecurity, elderly individuals, gender.
So we want to build the integrity of into social media and technology so that we champion food security and sovereignty in allyship with single parents.
The way I would use this is go to the groups who I want to be in allyship with. For me, for instance, there's certain groups that I resonate with more than I resonate with others. For instance, the racial and ethnic minority may be something that I resonate with, or immigrant workers, right? Because I'm an immigrant, and so for me, those two cards may be the ones that I want to prioritize over the others. How would you use yours?
Yeah, I think that it's easy to recognize where we are, that we are in this group and this group. There's another group around that maybe we're close to that, but we don't. They were ready but didn't know where to go. They were ready but didn't know about all the different marginalized groups, or even all the different ways that they could have an impact. So when you and I started talking about how do we help people articulate that, we leaned back on our coaching skills. Is
We
it
would obviously like feedback. We want to see how this resonates with people. Want to see, are there groups that we probably missed out? Are there interesting use cases that you've seen? How have you used these cards, and how does this how do you resonate with this?
Yeah, on the webpage on Buy It, or on the webpage on the Game Crafter, which is the parental demand site that we use, there'll be a link to click on to go and provide us feedback. There is a card in the deck with a QR code, so you can take the snapshot and go to it that way as well.